Hey guys, what's up? I'm a little bit tired. First full week of work, and I'm already feeling it. It's also probably because I had to attend a funeral today in the heat. Oh, you can't hear me! Ha! Now you can hear me. Oh, fuck. That's one way to start the show. What is wrong with me? Oh, wow. I cannot believe I started this show muted. I bet that's really attractive. Mm-hmm. Boomer Jones at it again. And I don't see that anyone has called me out on this, so I'm just going to pretend it's not happened. Hopefully. Is it even playing? Is it live? Okay, I think we're good. I hope we're good. Yep, that's me. Quirky as ever. Okay, all right. I'll go back to what it was that I was saying. Hi, I'm tired. Hi, tired. I'm dead. It's been a long week. It's been a very long week. First full week of work, like actual work. Like I have a job now, and that was what I was doing with my days instead of digging around pretending to be busy. Not pretending, actually being busy, but in a different way with a lot more leniency and not as much oversight. I was training most of the week, figuring out how to actually do the thing with the stuff, so that I could tell other people how to do the thing with the stuff. So that was my entire week. And I enjoyed it, actually. I enjoy my job a lot, but not for the reasons that they probably want me to enjoy my job. Because remember, I'm in a job kind of in tech support. So I get a lot of phone calls, email messages, tickets that I have to help people with regarding stuff and things that they're not quite certain about. So I get to help those people. And a lot of some of the things that they have troubles with are really rather silly. I've learned this. I don't know if it's because they just haven't considered taking certain steps when approaching their problems. Uh, if that was the solution, or if it's just like, is it genuine ignorance of the thing that you could be doing to otherwise mitigate the issues you're having? Or is it just incompetence? And or are those just the same exact thing? The same exact issue in this event. I can't really be super specific about what it is that I do, because there'd be crazy bitches out there that would most certainly take the opportunity to dox me if given the chance. I have to at least, maybe more. We don't know. But I don't want to take the chance, that somewhere, someone out there is smart enough to draw the connection. We shall see. Anyway, so I see we have Brad Young in the chat, Vincent Van Holt, Daniel Fulman, Spirit Thief, Travis Mattingly. I don't know why I said your name like that. Who else do we have? The Memes of Destruction. I approve. Quinn the Cultist. Going back up, we have Cavalier, Aloysius Fedpucker, Slipknot, Raziel, Grimgritters. Show regulars. That's what we got. I just consider it ignorance as Brad Young. Yes, totally. Although there was one woman who I'm not so sure about what her thinking was. She called in to my number, because I also have a private number for what it is that I do for my job. She called in, and she called into my desk, and she was having trouble pairing a Bluetooth device, with her Chromebook. She's like, my Chromebook, it's connecting. It's still connecting. It's doing the rotatory thing. I'm having trouble with this. It's not actually pairing. And so I take down her name, her number, where it is that she's working within the area that I am designated to be overseeing, and I start asking her specifics about the issue to kind of gauge what she's tried, what she hasn't, what I can advise, and also to kind of diagnose what the problem might be. And it gets to a point where I've asked her, have you tried turning everything off and on again? Have you rebooted your computer? Yada, yada, yada. I think I even had her reboot the computer completely before she tells me, oh, by the way, I don't actually have the device that I'm trying to pair on me. I left it at home today. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, oh, well, that might be why it's not pairing. But of course, it wasn't pairing the day before. So she's like, her thinking, in her mind, her logic was, I shouldn't bring the device at all, since it's not doing me any good right now, which makes sense. However, it's when you call into the IT help desk and ask for help pairing your Bluetooth device and you don't have it on you that I'm just thinking to myself, what was the mindset here? What was the thinking that led you to believe that this was a wise decision to make? I get the not bringing it thing, but then going to the help desk, the IT help desk, and asking for help pairing your device. I have trouble wrapping my brain around that. So you see why it is that I'm so tired this Saturday. I'm very tired. A week of that, and many more to come. Although it should be getting better. We should be less busy because I happen to start on the very same day that starts the busiest week of the entire year for the company that I work for. So, my boss was very surprised that I showed up for work the second day and then continued to do so throughout the rest of the week. I don't know what that tells him, but it probably is a hallmark of a testament to the fact that I am so desperate to actually gain some footing within my field. It's very important that I do this because, as I've learned since graduating, it's not super easy to actually gain a foothold within the computer science world, industry, whatever buzzword you want to say. It's really lucky that I happen to have the amount of patience that I do have and work in this field as an IT helper person. I have a lot of patience. More than I probably should for someone who is as angry as I can be. Because I can lose my shit pretty quickly, but in those situations, I happen to have a very high tolerance for shenanigans. Dave Doge. I was in IT development and many of London's investment banks for many, many years, and believe me, and believe me, there are many people there who aren't that smart. It is draining. It can be very draining, and doing it for 40 hours every week is going to be an adjustment that I will have to make. I'm certain of it. And on top of that, I'm also still bartending. And I had to pick up some extra shifts this week, so I will be working instead of just the regular 50-hour, 55-hour work. I will be working 70 hours, perceivably. It's an estimate. It could be less, it could be more, depending on when the bar closes, which is not necessarily up to me, although I can push it in that direction every night if I so choose to get it to close earlier. But it really depends on how many customers I have that night and how open to the idea of drinking they are. So that's another thing. But yeah, I will be doing both of those things next week for a lot of time. So I apologize if the video gets out a little late. The only day off that I will have had in 2 weeks. Today, actually. I did spend working on a script for a video, but I don't have a lot of confidence that it'll get done because I also spent the other half of the day at a funeral. That was an hour away. So, 2-hour drive, and then the funeral and all of the other stuff that goes along with that equals not a super productive Weebo, although I was productive, just not as much as I would like to be. I'd like to get at least 500 more words into the script before I can even think about filming it. But tomorrow I work half the day from noon to close, so that's going to be fun. But then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will go right from my day job to bartending, like with a 5-minute break in between, and that's me driving to and from one job to the next. And then I go home, crash, and repeat that for 2 more days. The reason why I picked up extra shifts this week actually was because the other bartender who works, my manager, her mom just passed it, so she has to go out of town for a funeral as well, which is unfortunate. And so I was, taking a load off her shoulders and picking up more shifts on top of my Sunday, Tuesday regular shifts that I usually do. So, I apologize, but IRL before URL, as Polly likes to say. And this money that I have coming in these next 2 weeks will be greatly appreciated because I also will be moving in the next month. October 1st will be the first day of my new lease. So that's also some good news. And some of you might understand what that means for content on the internet. Yes, I will be moving into an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment with El Boyfriendo. We'll still be saving enough per month to actually put a down payment on a house at some point, because there are certain circumstances at play that allow for us to save a crap ton of money, because the agreement that I have with the landlord is, well, he's like family, I'll say that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to have my own place. I already have all the furniture to put into it. It's just a matter of the previous tenants moving out and us moving in directly after them, after they've vacated. Also, I'll have to prep the apartment myself, which means painting, which means doing all of the things that a landlord would normally do after a tenant has vacated. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but to be quite honest, it'll be whatever it is that I and El Boyfriendo deem necessary for us to actually live there. Hopefully it's not a whole bunch, but we shall see. Is Weebo wearing bar merch? I'm actually wearing a shirt that I got from my aunt. It says "Drink Wisconsin Blee." I guess it qualifies as bar merch. Just think of how busy you would be if no COVID around. Actually, I think it'd be less busy at my other job because, well, with everyone working remotely, that means a lot more troubleshooting for me. Because everyone's using a whole bunch of applications that I have to support, that I have to micromanage and determine who has access to what, depending on what their status is in the company, and yada, yada, yada. Whereas people could just use normal office tools as per non-COVID regulation. I guess, I don't know. I would be less busy at that job, but more busy at the bartending job, I guess. Although, for whatever reason, my bar patrons don't seem to give a crap that we're in the middle of a pandemic at all. Like, they'll sit inside, outside, without the masks for the most part, just kind of chatting with people like it's the good old days. And not a single one of them seems to worry about getting sick. And they're all pretty old. They're all pretty elderly, like older than myself. So it is quite a contrarian experience that I'm getting compared to everywhere else that it is that I've ever gone. Daniel Fulman, is it more difficult to fix a problem when you cannot see what is happening, when you only have a rough layman's description? Oh, yeah, it's a lot more difficult to fix a problem when I don't know what I'm looking at. Sometimes I'm really surprised that the problem gets fixed with my instructions. Sometimes, uh, right after they started describing it to me, like 2 seconds after, I know exactly what the problem is because I've seen it 200 other times with other people. So I'm like, okay, just do this, input this instead of this in this format, and you should be fine. This is why this is happening. You're being silly. But other times it's a problem I've never come across. And so I have to kind of, in my mind, envision what it is. And some of the applications that I get calls about, I don't even support. There is a whole other section of people that are supposed to take care of those kind of tickets. And so I have to forward it to them, or I have to quick ask what it is that the person is actually having trouble with. I have to ask the person that is in charge of that support, and hopefully they're not busy. It's a whole jarble of shenanigans. It's a lot of thinking on your feet. It's a lot of detective work too, because sometimes you'll just be working on a ticket that someone submitted to the help desk online portal thing, and they'll be describing a problem, but it won't be actually what it is that is the problem. And so you'll have to go and find out, sleuth out what it is that's going on here. And then you'll have to find out if, hey, one, this is an actual problem, or if they're just wanting access to something that they're not cleared to have access to. So then I have to check all of the different 8 million spreadsheets, which you would think would be a wet dream for me, but they're not set up in a way that's conducive to success. But I have to check one of 8 million different spreadsheets to see if, hey, this person should have access to this application or not. Or I have to check to see if they actually have this access, or if the servers are down, or if it's just not rostering them correctly. There's like a whole host of different issues for why someone's thing wouldn't be working the way that it is supposed to. I don't even touch hardware, by the way. This is all software and application support. I am just there to press buttons. Where is the otter? That is a good question. Let me just double check to make sure. Yes, I did send him the stream link, so he should be here as soon as it is that he needs to be here. We said Saturday, right? This isn't a surprise to anyone, right? Right? Dave Doge, there is remote access software where you can log into other people's PCs remotely and look at the problem directly, so being far away from the problem shouldn't be an obstacle. I can do that, depending on the device. Oftentimes, sometimes, okay, how do I explain this without doxing where I work? So when people submit tickets, I don't get access to the specific device, or I don't know which specific device it is that they're having trouble accessing the thing on. So I don't know if I can actually see it, what it is that they're having an issue. And also, they still have to use their devices to do the things that they need to do while I'm trying to fix the problem. And it's a real-time issue. So I can't actually go on their device while it is that they're having trouble with a thing, because they can just work on something else while it is that I'm fixing the problem for them, and then they can come back and see that it's been fixed. But they still do need to use their device, and it's kind of a time-sensitive thing, because what they're doing for their job is dependent, there are other people dependent on them doing their job while they're doing their job. So in real time, they have to be using their computer. I can't just remote access and then take control and do whatever I want for as long as I want to fix the thing. They need that thing, especially because we're remote right now. So it's actually less helpful if I remote access their computer and just take control, unless they happen to be on their lunch break. But of course, no one wants to do that on their lunch break. It would not be helpful to them if I were to do that. I'll just say that. Okay. I think I went up. Is it not updating the chat very well? It's not updating the chat very well, apparently. I think someone's letting off fireworks. Where is the otter? He ought to be. Okay, I already answered that question. Wonder how often you will need to fix a prawn-related problem. Prawn. So far, not at all. I don't even know what a prawn-related problem is. Prawn. Someone describe what that is to me in the chat, please, because I have no idea. Anyway, so I've been playing with the idea for the next 2 months. And this might sound super depressing, but I've been playing with the idea of maybe, at least for the month of September, easing back on the video every week pressure that I put myself under, because of the fact that I will be moving on top of working several hours, working a whole bunch and getting used to my job on top of, there are a lot of birthdays that happen in the month of September that I have to be in attendance at. Like, it would be, well, El Boyfriendo for ones, my father's for another, which means I might have to travel a little bit. So there are a number of things that would make it very difficult for me to actually upload a video a week. So I'm thinking of doing at least one every 2 weeks, if I can swing it, and making them like the bigger project type videos. So I have one planned for September 7th. That's the absolute latest I will upload that video, and that is a Thought Patrol video. But then I also have one planned for October 31st. That is the Halloween special. So those are like 2 set dates that you're definitely going to get content. One more certain than the other, because Halloween is Halloween. I can't change that date. But I can move up the September 7th video depending on how fast I can crank it out. So I'm thinking, if I can swing it, that's what I might have to do, unfortunately. Oh, prawn. I get it. I get it. Sorry, I just saw what it was in the chat. Oh my god. You guys, I swear to God. That, of course, doesn't mean that that does not mean that the streams will go away. They'll probably get shifted around like they have been for the last several weeks. Unfortunately, that is the case sometimes. But the ability to upload at least this week will be very tenuous. We'll see how it gets when things normalize a little bit better. But this week, I'm swamped. I'm gonna cry. I know that I am. I am going to absolutely just fade it into obscurity. Hopefully, while it is that I'm working at the bar, I'll have some time to actually like pump out some scripts so that I can overload on the stuff. But it really depends on how busy the bar gets. Sometimes we have days when it's just dead, nada, zippity doo dah. Sometimes it's a little busier. And then there are the in-between days where it's like, okay, the bar is dead for 2 hours and then it picks up and then it dies off again. I can get a lot of work done at my bartending job for the channel when it is that I'm doing that. So that's hopefully what it is that I will do. But I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 days. I have 4 days of bartending to figure that out. Really, the thing that really pisses me off about the thing that really pisses me off is that I can't edit my videos away from this device. This computer right here is where all of the magic happens. And it's not like I'm happy about it. I bought the laptop that I have specifically so that I could edit videos. And I thought it would be perfectly capable of doing that. However, every single time I try to open up Premiere Pro restarts my computer. So I'm not happy about that. I have to still figure out why that issue is being an issue. The moment that I figure out if that issue is like a software issue, a driver issue, or if it's just the computer is incapable of actually handling such strenuous work. Once I figure that out, I might be able to actually edit videos from my laptop instead of having to wait until I can sit down here at this physical space and do the thing. If I could do it on the go, I would. This is where I wish I had my MacBook Air back, because at least that thing used the iMovie like a pro. At least I could function that bad boy without it dying. The videos weren't nearly as, you know, meaty, I guess is the word, but at least I could crank out a 6-minute video like no problem without it shutting down on me. I still have it, and the only thing that's wrong with it is that the on button has been marinating in chai tea latte for several months now. So maybe if I get the keyboard replaced on that, I will be able to start editing things on the go again. But that's a long shot, and that's money that I don't have. My life is just one big problem after one another. But, you know, good things are coming. It's only for a couple weeks at most. And then once I finally move into my place, things should definitely settle down. I'm mega super freaking hyped about that. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready for things to take that leap forward. I'm ready to go back to living on my own. Well, with boyfriend though, but, you know, living with a roommate and having our own kind of like idea of what we want to do. I'm excited. And you guys should be too. Yeah, why is Polly late? Where is Polly? Polly. He knew we were supposed to have a show today, didn't he? We talked about it, right? I can't believe I didn't get the prom thing. Like, honestly, I cannot believe that I didn't get that initially. Actually, I can believe that. I am not the most... I'm not the smartest person when it comes to super obvious things that everyone else would find obvious. Sometimes I can be a little naive. Had one of those moments just now on stream, live for everybody. It's almost as embarrassing as the wee boomer moment that happened at the beginning of this stream when I had my microphone muted, and this was before anyone was actually in the chat to tell me. So, Daniel Pullman, I look forward to hearing about you and El Boyfriendo's first Halloweens, first Christmases. I have plans, at least for Christmas. I don't know what I'm going to do for Halloween aside from the Halloween special, which I'm super hyped about. I always like the Halloween special. I go all out for that shit. That's a month. That is, like, I've been planning it, but once October 1st hits, boom, I will be all on top of that. Oh, I will have all my costumes available to me. Oh, I'm so ready. But okay, like regarding El Boyfriendo and mine's firsts being together, it won't. Okay, so it will be our first Christmas in the same dwelling together, but it won't be our first Christmas together necessarily, because we do spend Christmas at my family's house, like Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, because, well, he's Greek Orthodox, so he celebrates Christmas a completely different day than everyone else does. So I get him for both Christmas Eve and day at my parents' house, my dad's house. And it's like a whole day affair. It's a big deal. There's Christmas dinner both days, and a whole fuck ton of presents to open from everybody. It's a great time. I love it. All of the family, all 10 of us get together, plus all of the dogs, and you know, my dad's girlfriend's daughter came over with her husband and their 2 kids last Christmas, so it was like a full house. It was great. I can't wait. But I have this plan, and this was inspired by my dad's girlfriend's daughter and son-in-law. Yes, okay, that's how you would say that. Dad's girlfriend's daughter and son-in-law. Their entire family showed up to the Christmas day with footy pajamas. All of them were matching. It was adorable. I loved the heck out of this. And I thought to myself, that looks really comfortable too. I'm going to get El Boyfriendo and myself some matching footy pajamas, and we're going to show up to Christmas next year too. And we're going to make it like a Christmas tradition. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. I have to find those footy pajamas. I'm thinking that I'll get the footy pajamas with like the hoodie as well, and so we can be cute, adorable, matching like animals or something. I'm thinking penguins, but I haven't decided yet what animals we will be, or if we're just going to skip the whole animal thing and do something else. Um, but if you have any ideas for what we should show up to Christmas as, I am open. And I also thought that we could take this idea and extend it later on in our lives when we have dogs. We would have the dogs show up, because all the dogs show up anyway, but we'd have our dogs show up in footy pajamas that match ours. And then our kids obviously would do that too. So I'm ready. I am on top of it, and now Boyfriendo agrees with me that this is a good idea. He's down, so we're gonna do it. All right. What else? What else? What else? Weebo, have the okay. X17. X17. Oh wow. I see your name. I read it. I know what I'm doing. Have the peaceful BLM riots brought you to your senses, or the wonders of communism and on the wonders of communism and how it will save us all? Unfortunately, I have not. I have not converted to communism. I'm actually writing a video. I don't know if it's actually going to do any, like, if anything's going to come of the video, if it's going to be something that I actually bother producing. But I am working on something communist-esque in terms of poking fun, specifically to do with the hatred of landlords and all that entails. I'm thinking about, and not poking fun. It's okay. So the idea that I've had for this video is, you know how you see a whole bunch of people online and they are severely anti-landlord, like to the point where they think it's a crime, they think that they should get a real job, that they're just lazy, that they're evil, the scum of the earth, they belong in hell, all of these horrible things. And just for a person who's renting out a space within a dwelling that they own to people to live in under strict circumstances. Like, I get it. There are landlords out there that are assholes, that are the worst, that, you know, probably deserve their just desserts. I will not deny this. There are people like that in every frame of life, in every nook and cranny that you could possibly find yourself in. There are people that should get their just desserts. That's just a fact of life. But every landlord? I don't think so. I do not think so. For one, straight off the bat, my future landlord is not that way at all. And I am saying this because I'm a little bit biased, but like, I know the man personally. He's like family to me. So I personally I can't see it with every landlord. But in addition to that, some of the things that they've taken issue with when it comes to landlords, I find ridiculous. For instance, the idea that renters should get breaks on rents during pandemics, to me, is absurd, because literally no one else is getting a break on anything else ever in any capacity, right? Unless there is a piece of legislation out there that's like, hey, banks, don't charge people on their mortgages for the entire period of March through to whenever it is that the pandemic is supposed to clear up, because please no bully, please no do. I'm not aware of that being the case anywhere. I haven't heard anything about people being about grocery stores having prices suspended for their groceries when it is that they sell them to people. I've not heard that from any other industry, because even during a pandemic, people still have to make a living, and that is their living. Landlording is what it is that they do for a living. Maybe sometimes they have a secondary job, but that is what it is that they do. They use that money not only to, make their living, but they also do it to keep up the actual complex that it is that you're living in. That's utilities, that's electricity, that's water, probably. Like anything that's included within the rent, utilities wise, that is part of the rent that you have to pay. So if you're not paying that, shit gets shut off. That's a problem. That means that you don't get it, and the landlord can't control that for anything, like at all. So fortunately, you do have to pay those bills. That money does go to somebody in addition to your landlord. It goes to paying for utilities that you use. It goes to paying for the space that you're on, the property taxes of the building that you're living in. So the goal would be to make a video defending landlords. And I I would hope that it wouldn't be a super controversial video to post onto the internet, but given the fact that I didn't think that a video about Nefertiti being a little bit lighter than people thought she might be in bust formation, given the fact that I didn't think that that was going to be an issue, and then it turned out it was, I'm not so certain anymore. I think I might get backlash for that. I will probably end up posting it. If I don't end up posting it, it's probably because I just didn't get to it. But I'm thinking about it. Something anti-communist along those lines. The idea of not just living rent-free in someone else's building. So that would be a version of a communist video that I'm working on right now. It's on pause right now, however, because I don't actually have any experience living under a landlord. So I like to get a bit, and now I will have a bit, so I can actually say something about it. That'll be after I've lived in the apartment that I'm going to live in for a while. Oh, sorry. The next 6 minutes, thank you for your donation to the Streamlabs over on the Streamlabs. Long week, guys. I'm sorry. May the caffeine force be with you, Weebs. Yeah, this was 10 minutes ago. Okay. May whatever delivery system of this blessed chemical awesome be the win. Also, all you good people, remember to buy this girl's merch. If you don't buy Weebo's merch, you aren't really black. Fist bumps. And then smiley face. Thank you, Sixie. I appreciate that. And as always, thank you so much for the shilling of my merchandise. Even though I don't do a very good job of keeping it up and shilling it myself, you certainly do, and I appreciate that. I am still working on the Thought Patrol video, and the merchandise will get released when that video gets released. Okay? I promise. Pinky swear. So yeah, if Polly doesn't show up, he won't get a Streamlab. Unfortunately, that is the way that the cookie crumbles. I hope he's okay. I hope he's not in another car accident. And I'm going to knock on wood this time, because last time I said that joke, it actually had happened. And that's why he wasn't here. So I think that was the only other time he's actually missed a full show. Right? Right? Someone else with a better memory, let me know if that's the truth, because I think, but I don't know. X17. I heard BLM organizers say the looting during protests was justified as reparations. I've seen that too. I've seen the people justifying the fact that they were looting and breaking stuff as a justification. And that actually directly ties into the video that I'm working on right now, that I was working on before I hopped on air. directly ties into that topic, which is something along the lines of crime is a social construct, or here, let's justify the crimes because, or no. The crime is justified because of a whole host of historical and or non-related reasons. The crime to a victim who is a third party to all of these other things is totally justified due to unrelated slights. It's a video I'm working on. And it was inspired by a tweet thread that I saw yesterday that just triggered the fuck out of me. My hope is that that video gets put up Monday, because I have the ability to put videos out when I'm not at the computer immediately. So that would mean I have to finish it tonight, film it, edit it, and upload it tomorrow, and then it would get posted on Monday. We'll see if that happens. If it doesn't, it'll go out Friday. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, guys. I really do feel so bad because I hold myself to this standard of every week. And that's the way that it's been, well, for the first several years of my channel. It was a standard that I held myself to. And then when I came home, it was a standard that I couldn't really hold myself to as well. And now, I don't. At least for this week, it's kind of impossible. And I feel horrible about it. But I understand that IRL has to come before URL. I have to be a little bit selfish with my time, and time is money, and I need to make that money because eventually I would like to buy a house. I just had a solo show a few weeks ago. I did? I did. That's right, I did. Huh. I'm getting old, guys. My memory's going. My hope is that even though I'm not putting out as content as frequently as I would like to, I would hope that I can put out content that is mega super freaking hype. Like my last video, that took a while to produce. That took a long while to produce. That was a massive endeavor. That was a massive undertaking because there was so much footage to go through. And I didn't realize that at the start of producing that video. The scripting was basically done. But the collection of footage that I used in the video and the transitions and the music and the editing process took a lot more time. Actually, the editing process didn't take nearly as much as I thought it would. It was the extras that I put in there to really beef up my argument in addition to make it more cinematic, more professional looking. Because that's kind of the direction that I would like to take my videos in. Not just to produce videos to say that I have videos that I'm making weekly. I want to make them better than the last several years. I'd like to make them not Oscar worthy because I fucking hate the Oscars and everything that award ceremonies stand for, but I'd like to make them look more professional, look more put together, to bring them up to a higher standard of production, which I've been joking about for years. I know. The running joke on this channel is higher production quality, and that's what the crazy hats are for and all the costumes. But genuinely, I would like to do that in the editing too, and in the content that I'm bringing to you, and in the way that things are presented. So with the last video, I spent an agonizingly long time finding the right music. I went full poly, trying to find the right music to put to the different sections. For instance, the Sequoia section, the Sequoia Turner section, it was the saddest music that I had, that I could find, that was royalty free, that was copyright free. And I specifically saved that music for that section of the video because it, to me, was the most heart-wrenching of the stories that I was covering for that whole thing. In addition to that, some of the video overlays with the music underlays, I guess is what you would call them, they had to synchronize appropriately. So I had to play and toggle some of the looping in the music to make it fit better, or play with the pacing or speed of a clip as well. The timing was very like intentional in that whole video, and I agonized for I think it took me 2 days. Like, okay. So I spent maybe an hour cutting out all of the things that I didn't want in the video that were just mistakes. And then I was left with, I think, 23 minutes of content. I think. Maybe it was like 15 minutes. I cannot remember. But after that, I spent 2 solid days in the editing room, lining up tracks and making sure that they fit with what it was that I was saying. And then I had to also interlay the video that I wanted to use with the music and what it was that I was saying, and where it was that I wanted my, like, the music to just completely cut for a second, just to kind of emphasize what I was saying at that point with my face right there, or where it was that I wanted the music and the video to overlay in. So the best example of this that I can bring up is in the beginning, when the track and the loud pop from the explosive sync up at the exact same moment, and then all of the shit goes nuts. That's kind of the level that I want to bring most of my videos to. I still want to bring the humor, I still want to bring the costumes, all of the fun times, but I would also like to bring it up to a greater level in the editing room as well, in terms of how professional it is that I'm purporting myself on the internet. I would like to do that, and that means that it's going to take a lot longer. With more ambitious projects, obviously that's the case. So that's a thing. No, I do not have his phone number. Assassins of the Grey. Unfortunately, he is notoriously private. Well, not unfortunately. Kudos to him. I could take a lesson out of his book, honestly. I can be too naive, too trusting, and that's how I got myself in the whole Scooby situation, honestly. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago he overslept. Yeah, it happens. But that was my fault, actually. That wasn't as absolutely my fault. I remember, yes, because I didn't tell him in enough time that I had my internet back. And so he went out and he went drinking, and then he came back and he passed out. So, had I said something, he would not have done that. It's fine though. Let me see. No word from Polydub. I genuinely hope he is okay. But you get a Weebo solo show this week, so there you go. For right now, until he shows up. X17. Privilege means that your human rights disappear, apparently. I guess the having... If you have privilege, that means that you are taking rights away from someone else, and therefore you should not have the rights that the other people don't have, and therefore we should bring everyone down to a level of not having rights, I guess, is the logic there, which to me is absolutely absurd, right? You want to elevate people to a position that the other people are at. You don't do that by bringing other people down to your level. That's not how you create equality. You create equality by building people up. You don't, okay. I don't want to say create, because you're not creating equality. You're producing better outcomes. You are enhancing a person's status. That's somehow by like education or by proxy of being in association with you, or perhaps that's in giving them just a little bit of money or a house or some sort of advantage. You build people up somehow. You don't tear others down to your level so that you're equal. You want to encourage people to do better. And I know that can be a little offensive to people who are down and out, who feel like it's not their fault that they're not succeeding. I can understand that. I can empathize with that thinking. That idea of, well, I've tried literally everything, and I still can't get X, Y, or Z. It took me, I started looking for a job last November, a job in my field. And then I graduated in May, and it took me 2 more months to actually get something. And it's still not what it is that I was promised when I graduated. It's still not what I think that I'm worth. But I took the job that they offered me because it's something. It's something to get my feet wet. It's something to get me started. It's something. But I understand that idea of, wow, I feel so hopeless. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know what more I could be doing possibly to actually elevate myself in this world that is so unfair. Yes, the world is unfair. I don't know how many times I can say that. The world is unfair. And you know what? There's no possible way to make it completely fair for everyone else. That's just the hard truth of it. The best you can do is work your ass off and persevere. And I know that's a whole bootstraps argument. But honestly, truly, that's the most you can count on, because you will always be able to count on yourself to do what it is that is best for you. I would hope. That being said, there are people that don't do what's best for themselves. But you are the only person that you can absolutely depend on. For certain. If you make the decision to do something with your situation to better yourself, chances are you're going to do something to do that, to make it better for yourself. You can't really depend on the government to pull you out of the slums. You can't really depend on the rich to donate to you, because there's no guarantee that they will. There's no guarantee that the government's going to give you the things that you so desperately need. There's no guarantee that a charitable donation will be made in your honor to elevate your status at some point. Sure, we have GoFundMe, but there's no guarantee that it'll make it without a fuck ton of attention and a whole bunch of heartthrobs. And like I said, there's no guarantee. You are the only one that you can depend on. I can't emphasize that enough. So it sounds bad when I say all you can do is encourage people instead of discouraging them. Encourage people to work harder. But of course, it gets to a point, if a person is at their most hopeless, where encouraging them seems like just a futile exercise, and like you're not actually doing anything to help them. Wow. Real talk, right? The next 6 minutes. A house of my own is a 3 to 5 year plan, Weebs. All the best on your journey too. Yeah, it's a 3 to 5 year plan for me. And El Boyfriendo, if we pinch our pennies, we should be there pretty relatively soon. I would hope. I'm looking forward to it. You know, honestly, just having something that I can call my own space. I mean, the apartment is going to be that too, but having something that's not just a money sink. Oh, mama like. Property ownership is an extremely good idea. Having your assets in the US dollar is a bollocks idea. Yeah. Honestly, having property, something substantial, something physical, that you can say, this is mine, I own this thing. This thing has value for X, Y, or Z reason, to me is more attractive than, not attractive, but a more attractive prospect than just collecting money and letting it sit in a bank. Of course, that being said, I do have some money sitting in investments. You know, because I can't just, I don't want to just have money sitting in a bank collecting dusts, because you still do need to have savings. So those savings, at least a portion of it, goes to making more money while I'm idle, or while it is idle. Of course, you still have to watch it to make sure that nothing bad happens to it. You know, it doesn't go below the actual value that you purchase it for, so you're not losing money, you're gaining money. It is a long-term investment, but yes, investments are a smart idea. Property is a good idea. Personally, I think if you collect things that have value, like coins, not, I know I just said money is just, you know, it flow. It can be less valuable, more valuable depending on the day, but there are specific coins that you can collect that cost you no money at all. Like, you just find them in circulation and be like, oh, this is actually a silver penny, or oh, this is this is pretty freaking rare. This is from a time before X date, therefore it makes it a little bit more valuable. A boyfriendo collects change. Change. He collects coins. I collect books. For instance, my birthday present to myself is this book right here, The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Goge. I think I'm saying that right. It's a book that has a movie based on it. That's my all-time favorite movie. But this is a first edition copy of the book. And I have read it before, by the way. I didn't just buy it to be a poser, a nonce. What's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely not nonce. I know that. I did not just buy it to be a pleb. I'll think of it. Yeah, I bought it. It's first edition. It might be signed by the author. It might just be marked by some crazy person over here on the back. But it's also got the dust jacket. And as a result, the condition that it's in puts it at $100 value. I got this shipped all the way from Australia, by the way. This was my birthday present to myself. And a person might just see a book here, but in 200 years, this bad boy could be worth a lot more than $100. We'll see. Of course, then I can't really do anything with it, but my grandchildren certainly can, and that's something worth holding on to. Your videos look way better than those DNC convention puppet shows. You know, you say that, and my thought automatically goes to the graduation video that I got for college, for when I graduated college. We had a video that they put out, and it looked like absolute ass. I think it was the not vice principal, that's a high school thing. The vice president, I think that's what they call it at a university level. He could not be bothered to actually talk through, like, one take his speech, to memorize it enough that he could one take through the whole thing. You could actually, like, you could see the jump cuts in his thing. And while I don't have a problem with jump cuts, obviously, have you seen my videos? I jump cut all the time. You gotta make it less obvious if you're gonna allow for jump cuts. You know, like, a good way to hide jump cuts, and you didn't hear this from me, but a good way to hide jump cuts is to kind of zoom in on the person's face, you know, Chris Ray Gun style. Another good way to hide your jump cuts, I guess, is to overlay something over that, whether it be a video or an image, a graphic, if you will. I very rarely do a full one-take video. I think the only one that I can remember on my channel is the one is my coming out video. That was one take, one straight shot all the way through, and I was very impressed with that when I finished it. But other than that, yeah, one takes not my forte, and I get it, Mr. Vice President. If you don't feel confident in doing that, don't do it. But make it less obvious. Although you would think that like a 5-minute speech you'd be able to memorize, or at least have a prompt or a proctor, like something in front of you to read off of while it is that you're doing the thing. But no, this guy could not say one sentence completely without messing up to save his life, apparently, I guess. All right, let's see. I'm way behind on comments, guys. Weebo getting all John Williams with your videos. Not quite John Williams, because I'm not composing the music at all. Although, at some point, I'd like to get to that point. Not where I'm composing the music, but where music is being uniquely composed for my videos specifically. I'd like to get to that point. And I have a few artists in mind that I could see myself using and paying, but that's way into the future, beyond what it is that I'm capable of right now. X17, can you cosplay the little yellow floating robot from the movie Flubber with Robin Williams? Yes. I'm so glad that you referenced Flubber, because that is one of my all-time favorite movies. Ooh, come on. Focus. There we go. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, and actually the inspiration for why it is that my name is Weebo. It's a good catch. Nice reference. I adore. I applaud. I adore. Good, good, good. Assassins of the Great. Mob rule and tyranny are two wolves debating what to have for dinner. Liberty is a well-armed ram capable of contesting the vote. True, true. True, true. Vincent Van Holt. Nothing can be made by tearing things down, only by elevating things so we can all stand on equal footing. When you're all doing better, can we move on as people? Yes, exactly. I 100% agree with that sentiment. You shouldn't tear down people just to build yourself up. It's not going to work because, and I can't believe I had to explain this to people, but if you feel slighted, or you, okay, you feel slighted and hence feel justified in the tearing down of another person in some way. If you tear down that other person, they will also feel slighted and in turn tear you or someone else down in some way. And thus begins the vicious cycle of tearing things down. And finally, after however many teardowns, we've devolved into a just completely anarchist state, a society with not a care for anyone or anything. You've become essentially your own worst enemy in that respect. And I don't get how people don't get that. But I understand that people are angry, that people feel like they've been slighted, that they feel like the world is out to get them, that things are unfair, that the system is working against them. I can understand that feeling. What I don't understand is taking that feeling and turning it around and making it the catalyst for something that you would take out against someone else. And maybe it's because I don't get jealous. Sorry, I don't get, jealous like other people do. Like I don't have that feeling of, well, you have this thing and therefore I wish to take it from you, or I wish I had it. Because I understand that you can always get your own thing or variation of the thing that another person has. Like I don't have the jealousy bone, at least as of right now. I don't feel like I've had it. I certainly get territorial, but that's a completely different feeling. When someone encroaches on your box of thing that is yours, completely different feeling. I do get territorial. I do not get jealous. Those are two very different primal instincts. And for whatever reason, I have less motivation to be jealous than I do to be territorial. And maybe that's because I have a lot of things to lose and less to gain, or less that I want to gain. But that would be an interesting thing to look into the psychology of. Don't you think? Don't you agree? Let's see. I'm getting a little bit behind. I'm so glad that we have a chat that is the size that it is currently, because I would be abysmal in keeping up with people. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to talk, ladies and gentlemen. I truly am, though. This is a good conversation. We're having fun. A government big enough to give you everything you want is a government powerful enough to take away everything you have. That profound. It's very profound. Is that from something, Assassins? Daniel Fullman, first Reeve Superman movie, Lex Luthor said people will always want land and they will pay through the nose to get it. First Reeve Superman movie. I think I remember him saying that, actually. Like, I don't watch a lot of old movies, and that is an old movie by my standards. But I do remember, I do remember seeing it, and I do remember, I think, him saying that. You also collect baseball caps. You keep the brims flat like a dinner plate, which makes no sense. They're not baseball caps. They're snapbacks. They are snapback hats with a flat brim. That is the style of hat. And actually, I quite like that style of hat. I don't know why I do. I just like the way that it makes my face look. 120-year-old Weebo will be rich. That's the goal, to live till I'm 120 and to be filthy rich. I think I can do it. I have faith in myself. I was a cashier for a while. I wonder how many once-in-a-lifetime worth million coins went through my hands and I did not know it. Yeah, same. I do a lot of thumbing through bills and change in my day-to-day as a bartender, and I can safely say that I've probably skipped over a heckin' of a coin once in a while. And Lion Patriot was slain in Conan Exiles. Good to have you, Lion. Good to have you. Has editing videos ruined movies for you? You notice jump cuts and framing, etc. It's not ruined movies for me. I quite like being able to critique movies. It's ruined movies for people who want to watch movies with me, because I can't shut up in the middle of a movie. Like, I gotta say something. I gotta say something snarky and critical. That's just my personality at this point. It never used to be, and I don't know what happened. I think as I've gotten older, I think the word is jaded regarding content. Crafted content, created content, I think. I've gotten cynical. Maybe that's the word. I've gotten cynical about, no. I've gotten more critical about content that I'm viewing. And I think part of that might have something to do with the editing process. But at the same time, it's not like I'm producing a Hollywood movie every time I sit in front of a camera. I sit in front of the camera and I read off of a script. And sometimes I don't always get it right the first take. But I try. I certainly try. I don't have the luxury of using multiple different camera angles, although I wish I could. I just don't have another person who's willing to stand and be a cameraman for me. Maybe when I live with a boyfriend, I'll make him be my cameraman, but we will see. We will see. It depends on how busy he is, too, because he does a lot of stuff, too. He has 2 jobs as well. But yes, I am a hard person to watch movies with, which is why Polly and I can watch movies together, because he doesn't mind that I talk, because he also talks over movies. So it works where it otherwise would not. Rizbast, what's the theme of this chat? It's just asking questions. Really, we're just going with the flow of conversation. That's it. Not a big deal. Oh, I forgot to mention, with the fact that I will be moving to a more permanent residence, the P.O. box will be opening up, and I will have more information for you on where that will be in due course of time. So that's a thing. Oh, look who could join us in the chat. It's Polly. Hi, Polly. So good of you to join us. You have the StreamYard link. I don't know why you do not use it, but you have it. Ugh, look at that. I have hair in a place that it should not be. Polly. Hop on, boy. What happened to the donation camera? The donation camera? Oh, it's right next to the thing. The problem is that I don't have the same kind of setup that I did at college where the camera could just kind of sit over here and I could look towards it and go, hi, donation. Because I had to kind of downsize everything when I came back. And one of the things that I had to downsize was the camera display that I could have on my desk. So I only have the one right now, but when I move, yeah. Hey, Polly's back. Polly is here. Hi, Polly.
God damn it, Weebo.
What did I do this time?
You and the never-ending changing fucking times. I'm not going to say I forgot. I was led astray and misled. I was bamboozled as to the start time.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here at my computer just doing stuff on fucking Photoshop, watching a live or listening to a live stream in the background. And I decide to hit my notifications and I'm like, cocktail hour. What? I
could have sworn that we had this discussion at the end of the stream on Monday that we were going to have.
We probably did, but Weebo chat. Let me tell you something. Chat. Planning something with Weebo for a stream in like the past couple of months has been like playing a shell game. Things are moving around and they're moving fast and hands are blurs. And then all of a sudden, okay, which shell's the P under? It's like, I don't fucking know.
I know, and I did take responsibility for that, but the chat's not going to be super.
No, they're not. I'm aware of it.
I'm glad you're here.
You know what? I'm picking an angry otter for my avatar in a few minutes that are left. I have angry otters. Hold on.
I'm sorry. We both need burner phones exclusive for each other's comms, apparently. That's the next fun we're going to have is burner phone fun.
There we go. Angry otter.
That's a really angry otter. I don't know if I can handle that ire. It's just too much. And it works because you're on that side and I'm on this side.
Well, you know what I could do?
There
needs to be more specificity in like phones for a long time, like Android operating systems that you can. Wait a minute, I'm not sure if you can do that actually. Can you allow one person on Android OS 9 or 10 to get through your muting, but everyone else is muted?
Oh yeah. You should be able to do that. Because so if you put your phone on do not disturb, right? That's what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay. If you put your phone on do not disturb, if you favored a contact, they should be able to get through.
Okay.
Like a phone contact, they should be able to get through to you.
See, I've always been of the opinion that it's like if I'm muting people, I'm muting all the peoples, and it's like if you could only do that sort of thing for Discord, where it's like Weebo's capable of like hitting my audible and vibrate thing to tell me, hey, you're supposed to be live right now. It's like, oh yeah, right.
I wonder if you can do that. Here, let's find out.
Michael Trudell, I am not late. I am Weebo's shell game bamboozled me.
Apparently. A horrible person. I should stop changing the date of the stream.
I mean, you know what? The last time that Weebo and I talked, chat, let me tell you something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if this was at the end of the last stream or it was the time that we were DM talking or whatever. I don't remember. I drank. But there was a point where there was a conversation where you said, like, we're going to go on the regular time. And I'm like, since when is the regular time Saturday? And you said like 2 months ago. Now, admittedly, we haven't done it on that day for like, a month.
2
But
months,
that
yeah.
is the regular day. It's like, okay, ours.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think that was last week. That was Monday.
Was it last week? Okay.
I think that's what we said.
Well, I mean, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. I have enough personality for 2 people, I guess.
Is that what you've been told, or is that what you're telling yourself?
I'm telling myself that. To make myself feel better.
Okay, so what were you talking about up until I was here?
Oh, literally everything. I think we had a conversation about communism. We had a conversation about my video editing process and how I'd like to bring it up to the next level, the Polydub level of editing, like with, well, not the Polydub level editing in terms of like video editing, but the Polydub level editing that you bring to your Photoshop edits. Mm-hmm. And how that's going to take a fuck ton of time, and that means that I'm probably going to have less to upload less frequently, or more. I will have better stuff to upload, but less frequently than I would like to.
Yes.
It happened. Yeah.
The Polydub method of Photoshop editing, in case you didn't know, chat, just means spending a ridiculous amount of time OCDing on hyper minuscule details no one will ever notice.
I noticed. Because you point them out to me.
Once I point them out to you.
Well, you make sure that people notice them because you do point them out to people.
You're damn right. I'm just spending that much time on them. And then, I've got the same argument every single time. It's like, hey, I don't game, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I might have to mitigate the amount of time that I spend doing other things and focus on the creator stuff. But part of the reason why it is that I take forever to do stuff is because a lot of what I produce videos about happens online, and so I get distracted sometimes. And it's not always a mundane, just random thing. Sometimes the thing that I get distracted by is something tangentially related to the thing that I'm researching about. Mm-hmm. And then I go down this deep, dark rabbit hole of just stuff that inhibits me from making progress on the main project. And then it becomes either a side project or an extra bit of the main project and an extra topic. And therefore I have to expand the project, and it just takes even more time. That was the problem that I ran into with the last video. Initially, it was just about Black Lives Matter's, their What We Believe page. And then it became a whole big collection of death stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so the projects, they morph with the research, which I used to have time to be able to incorporate that. And now I'm realizing that I have less time to do that after working a 40-hour work week, which we also talked about before you got here. My new job.
No, I've heard about the things. Hopefully it's still going progressively well.
Oh, I think so. I like to think so. It's a good time. It'll be super busy next week though. And I told you that, right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I told everyone else here too why I was going to get super busy. Get 2 cameras, jump between 2 angles, and talk to yourself. Yeah, I'll do that next time Polly's not here.
Nice.
Yeah. Weebo and Schmeagle. Weebo and Weebo. Yep, there are 2 of me. So, Polly, how are you? What were you working on? Or is it too private?
You never mind about my hentai.
Fair. Okay. I won't ask about your hentai. I'll ask about your other stuff. Like, for instance, how is our collab doing?
You never mind about our collab.
But it's our collab. We recorded like almost an hour, I think, of content. Or was it 90 minutes?
Okay, here. Let me show you some stuff.
Okay.
What? It was, what the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just having video problems. I'm not sure what the hell's going on. My potato's failing.
I'll get with a stick. That's my expert IT advice.
Do you want to know what's involved if you want to reach poly levels?
Yes, by all means. Share with the class.
Here, I could show you the pains of the life that I live. I mean, it's self-inflicted, but that doesn't mean it's not painful.
Yeah.
Here. Yes. Let's pick out a certain street here, for example. I mean, you've seen some of these, but not all of them. I mean,
hey, Robin. She's in
Canal.
the chat. I haven't seen her in forever.
Ooh, Robin.
One of my longtime YouTube friends.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Hentai sounds like chicken martial art. Am confused. Please explain. Perry DeBur. Thank you, Assassins of the Grey, for shilling the shill links in the chat. I do appreciate that, by the way.
Always greatly appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, she
I realized
says, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just reading the chat. You're good. You're good. Continue.
Okay, there we go. Fit on screen. All right, I will show you what's involved in poly-level OCDism.
Yeah, do it. Do it right now. Right now.
Share screen.
Mm-hmm.
Share screen. Share screen.
Working on it.
Share screen number 2. That's how many button clicks are involved in sharing your screen, for fuck's sake.
That's a bit much. And then I have to click a button that says share screen. And it takes forever.
Okay, now, as you may or may not know, I'm very involved in creating, because what fun is there if there's no lore? There has to be lore behind it.
Yeah.
You know, in my mind anyway. That's what happens when you read comic books for a long time. Everything's got to have lore. So what we have here is Canal Street in Noir City. Noir City is where Noir Bar is located. It's just outside of Philadelphia, in case you were curious.
Oh.
Yes. Now, this is a, what would you call it? A multi-part image. Not all of these... not all of the things you see on the screen are actually part of the same original image, because you have to be dedicated. You have to have an image in mind and an end product you want to achieve. I wanted it to look a very particular way. So I found a street side image, and I wanted the street to be flooded because the pipes had broken, and it's Noir City, and it's full of corruption and broken city institutions and such, because it's that kind of town. So the pipes broke, the street flooded, and I mean, nobody fixed it because,
and no one ever will,
because welcome to the dankness that is Noir City. So this is Canal Street as it's come to be known. This is where the mobsters drop their bodies. That's another reason nobody wants to drain it. But just to give you an idea of the hell that's involved, is that you can see what the original photo, part of the original photo, looked like underneath it. See all this modern graffiti?
Oh, how rude.
Well, yeah. And I mean, that kind of ruins everything when you have the modern graffiti, right? So what you got to do is layer another layer over top of it and painstakingly over time get rid of it all. And that's what it looks like when you've gotten rid of it all. Yeah. And that's hours. Yeah. And that's hours and hours and hours and hours of work to get rid of all that horrible, horrible graffiti. And that horrible graffiti includes all of the pasties on the signposts and that go all the way to back there. The little bits of graffiti that you don't notice right here and right here until somebody points them out. This very strange bird that is sitting right there for no reason.
All you don't like the bird?
Well, no, all of those things disappear. See, the signposts are now clean. The bird is gone. And when you zoom out again, you will see this is a frozen part of the image, because if you break it apart like this and like this, you'll see they're all fragments that make up a whole image.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then when you've done that, you take that work and you go over to Vegas, like so, and you import actual rippling water, and it looks like that.
So how do you import the... Is that what I guess I'm asking is, how do you get the rippling water effect to layer over the reflection of the windows in the water?
To layer over the windows in the water.
I don't know, like, because there's obviously a layer with the windows that reflect in
like
the water.
The windows. Oh, you mean the reflections, or are you talking about how do you composite all those images together?
I guess, yeah, the second one.
Oh, how do you composite I could open
the image,
Vegas, but
and then the rippling water, I guess.
The bottom layer is the water, and then the layer that's on top of it is the right side, what you see over here, and then the next layer up is these buildings in the back, and then the top layer is this whole side street. And so this side street is actually sitting on top of that. If I were to remove the side street, you'd see the water continue over here, and then the edge of the bank that makes up the water, etc.
Okay. So hang on. Let me phrase my question appropriately. The water itself is both a rippling water effect and an image with the reflections in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both.
And the rippling water effect is opaque over the image?
Right. The rippling water is an MP4 that's playing, that's composited with a still image of this building.
Okay.
And then all of it being rendered together.
And so that's the effect that you get. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dear guys.
So that's Canal Street, but we also have there's more than one place in Noir City. Here's Park Alley.
What? Park Alley. Why is it called Park Alley?
Because it's an alley that's beside a park. See, this is the park.
Jet.
And yes, there is the park as well. And that's why it's called Park Alley, because it's an alley right off of a park. And as you can see, the clouds are moving.
That's so extra.
Well, yeah, man. And this is made up of... This is actually one photograph, but then I cut all of the buildings out separately because the original image, let me just pause it, looks gray as fuck. Everything's grayed out. So I cut out all of those images separately. The buildings in the back, this building right here, this side building here, this building over here, the fence, and then the street. And then so I can adjust their adjust their hue and contrast levels separately to make them darker or lighter. So that's how you get all this depth of field. So it looks better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Pair to bear, park for cars. That's what I was thinking, but no.
This is Bay Edge Street.
And let me guess, it's on the edge of a bay.
That's right. That's why there's so much fog down here at the end of the street. See it moving?
Ah, shit! I'm so smart, guys. That's where Bruce Wayne's parents died.
So that's Bay Edge Street.
One of these places could have been where Bruce Wayne's parents died. Honestly, that's what it was.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Oh, is there a Bruce Wayne's parents died here street?
Yes, this is when I was this is Crime Alley. When I showed this here's another setting for Noir City, and I showed it to Quiz, and he goes, and I'm like, I need to name this. What should I name it? And Quiz goes, Crime Alley. And I'm like, oh God, that's perfect. It looks like, you could see Thomas and Martha Wayne laying dead on the street here. It's perfect. So here's Crime Alley, and if you notice, there's 1942 period correct cars driving in both directions in the background.
You gotta play it, man.
Well, that's you'll see. I mean, they go through in time. You can see the clock is moving, but they're not just going to drive by like super fast.
Oh,
They're
I'm
timed
sorry.
out
Of course not.
because this will be playing in the background whilst the video's going on. And yes, I went through the trouble to look up period correct 1942 automobiles and downsize them and put headlights in front of them. Come on, car, drive by. How long did I? 35
Yeah, Polly,
seconds.
are you gonna ever draw a map of how these all like relate to each other? Where these all are? Are you gonna draw? Are you ever
I
gonna
should see
get
there.
around to
Car
making
just
a
drove
map?
by.
Oh,
See
I
that?
see it. Yeah.
We'll just jump back because it takes a while for them to go by. Because I see, look at that. They've got little headlights. See,
Oh, he's got the headlights. It's got the whole car.
that was a 1942 Packard with white wall tires.
I couldn't have told. I couldn't have. I wouldn't have known that because I can't really. It's a distance there between me and the car.
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay.
You don't when I'm putting these things together, it's like my level of detail that I want for it to matter. But it's also that there's chat is full of that guy. Okay. Chat is full of that guys where they'll be like, actually, that car didn't exist in that year, and that's
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. And see, this image is actually like originally the background over here is stolen from another image and cut out, as is the whole sky. But the photography of the image writ large isn't. But I had to stretch it to be able to get it to fit because it was basically a square photograph. So I had to make the building elongate and then resize the windows. But what you did see is a whole bunch of non-period correct stuff. There was a car parked over here that was like from the 1990s or something. There was a bicycle against the building over here.
How dare they?
Right. There was ceiling fans you could see with electrical wiring running from them that wasn't period correct. So I had to remove all that.
Probably just on top of his editing game. This is top tier editing shenanigans, boys.
It's not really. See, look.
Pretty impressive.
What's going on in reality, if you want to know, is that I'm a diagnosed insomniac. I have a caffeine addiction, and I'm currently single. All three of those things together come to create a nexus of productivity.
So what you're saying is should develop insomnia and retire boyfriendo.
And develop a caffeine addiction.
I already have that. Does your caffeine addiction present with a headache when it is that you've not had caffeine for too long?
I would have to go out with caffeine for a while, find out. I don't know. Yeah, actually, there's been times where I just didn't think to drink a coffee or anything like that, an energy drink or anything like that, and I developed a headache, and I started thinking, God, I really got a headache, and I took a Tylenol, it didn't help, and then eventually, let me just have a small coffee here, and headache went away.
Yeah. Caffeine withdrawal headaches are the worst. Yeah, bad time.
Polly, you should get with Scribe to do his stream cards. I did back in the day. By back in the day, I mean like internet times, like 2 years ago, so a million years ago. Remember Scribe's, Scribe's dude standing on the mountain? What's it called? The Observer, the original painting, or the Onlooker, I forget.
Yeah.
I did animate clouds moving in multiple frames of reference in that picture. I don't know if he still uses it, though. I don't think he does. But I did do that back in the day for him. I still have that on a hard drive somewhere. Actually, Polly, that was a 1939 Lincoln.
Polly.
Weebo, let me ask you something.
Okay, let me see if I can answer it.
Okay. I was talking about the Animus yesterday with somebody in voice chat. With Zelthor, actually. Because he's a weeb. And he's a weeb in denial, but he's a weeb. You are not constantly talking about Dragon Ball Z and posting pictures of cat girls and able to claim you're not a weeb. Can't get away with that shit.
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah, and there's Far in chat, and she's a weeb too. She's also another weeb in denial, but that's okay.
Hi, Far.
So we started talking about different animes, and I was transferring some stuff around on hard drives because I'm really running out of external hard drive space. And I was complaining to him that, dude, I need to buy another hard drive. Holy fuck, have they ever gone up in price on Amazon since the last time I bought one? I said, well, why are you moving stuff around? I said, well, I have 245 gigs free on this one external. So, and I've only got 20 left on this other one. So I'm moving stuff over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of ridding myself of stuff I didn't need. And I kind of said out of nowhere, why do I even have episodes of Bleach? And he's like, yeah, why do you have episodes of Bleach? You of all people. And
what's Bleach?
Well, what's Bleach? There's the question that reveals your anime knowledge. It is it's a long running anime series. Is the short answer. Right. He's like, how did you come to know of or end up getting a copy of Bleach from perfectly legitimate sources? And why do you have Bleach, Farass? Because the answer to that question is I had watched an anime by the name of Rurouni Kenshin, or Samurai X, as it's known in America, and loved the hell out of it. The OVA, I had to look up what an OVA was. Do you know what an OVA is, Weebo?
I don't know what an OVA is. An OVA?
An ova, yeah, exactly. It's the plural of ovum.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrena, how's it going?
What? What?
Ed Didendro. That's why I call him Ed. Fuck.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, what's up? Ed Whitehall. It's so much easier in remembering how it's properly said.
But why would you say OVA like OVA instead of just OVA?
Because it's not. It stands for something. I forget what it stands for.
Oh, it stands for something else.
Yeah, I totally forget what it stands for. It's a standalone feature-length production of a given intellectual property. So there's
Assassins of the Grey says original video animation.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. So it would be like I watched the OVA of Rurouni Kenshin, which is a 4-part of like 90 minutes each or an hour each. So it's like a feature-length production. And then there's the series for Samurai, which was like half an hour long episodes each.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the difference. And I thought it was just sick. It was so good. I love period anime, like samurai and ninjas and intrigue between lords as they're fighting their wars, you know.
Nerd. Sorry.
But that's actually fairly uncommon as anime goes. The majority of anime you're going to watch is going to be about high school isms where a bunch of giggly girls are trying to catch senpai's attention. And anime titties bounce asunder. That's
yeah, that doesn't really have any appeal to me. So I've watched 2 animes. I guess actually, okay.
Yeah, all of this yakking was leading up to. Do you watch anime?
Oh, okay.
If so, right. What do you like? I guess I could have just said that and left my whole thing right out of this.
No, you're fine. I enjoy hearing your little story times. They bring me much amusement.
Like I'm a clown. I'm here to amuse you. Is that
exactly? Yes. In all facets of life, everyone that I associate with are here to amuse me in some level. I like to laugh, and it's very easy to make me laugh. So, hence, there you go. So I do watch anime, but not at the level that my name would imply. Weebo is for the flubber robot, not because I watch, like I'm obsessed with Japanese culture. That being said, I literally just finished watching 7 Deadly Sins season 4 on Netflix, the dubbed version, because I can't stand to have to read alongside watching the thing. You know, I'd rather like listen and watch instead of read at the same time that I'm watching, then I miss stuff. And it's not like your typical anime that you just described as being a typical anime. It's It's not set in a high school. It's not with the intention of getting senpai's attention. It can be silly at times, and that's what I find amusing about it. But it also can be super serial at times too, and handle heavier stuff like death or 3,000-year-old curses that leave one person immortal and another person not so immortal. Spoiler alert for you guys. But if you don't know what I'm talking about by now, then you're a little bit behind. And then I think Castlevania counts as an anime. I think.
I've heard good things, but I've never watched it.
And
then I heard the bad thing about the that particular scene. Anyway,
yeah, the gay sex, the orgy scene at the end.
And wasn't it like very rapey at the same time?
It got to that point, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And then there. So initially it was all fun and games, and then it was less fun, more games, and then it was murdery games, and then it got to the point where the person who was about to be murdered was actually the one murdering the people, and then the game was over. And then he impaled their dead bodies on spikes. And scene. Oh. Yeah. That all happened in the same orgy. That was all one big event. But it was split up because at the same time, like 3 other things were happening elsewhere in the universe that is Castlevania. But it is a good show. Like even that wasn't like it was. How do I explain this? Wow, this is a very squeaky chair. How do I articulate what about like it? Okay. In a show that already defames the Catholic Church and the idea of religion, and where there's a bunch of murderiness and walking, talking, blood-sucking demon thingies walk the earth and are killing everybody. In a universe where that has been established as the norm, I don't think. And yes, burning witches at the stake is also a thing, and it's been totally frowned upon by most of the characters. But in a world where all of that has been established,
yes,
I don't think that sex scene was really that bad compared to everything else that happens in the whole show. Like, it's a blood and gore fest, rightfully so, because that's the point of the show. But I don't get why that was such a point of contention compared to everything else. Because, like, right after that scene, two of the 3 people involved in the orgy get stabbed. And that's the end of them. While they're trying to stab the other person, by the way. So yeah, that's just like the lowest concern for me on the totem pole of things that I should find disturbing about that show, but I generally don't, because that's just the show. That is the way that the show has been characterized. Yeah, because sex, Far. Exactly. Because sex. And sex is bad, Polly. Don't you understand that?
Okay.
It's not a bad show. Okay, so beyond that, I guess we could go into things that aren't quite anime, but I would consider anime because they're animated. Like, I guess
what a blasphemous thing for someone named Weebo to say. And yes, I understand that your name is not there, but that's, people still make that connection.
I know, unfortunately. I didn't realize that until well into my use of the name, and then it was too late. And I think I've said that like a number of times too. So beyond that, did you know that Teen Titans was actually stylized after anime?
Teen Titans Go?
No, Teen Titans, just a regular old show.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, the 2005. I think it ended in 2005. Yeah, stylized after anime. So therefore, I count it as what I watch as anime. And then...
You know what bugs me? And the only person I know that makes this point anywhere that I've heard anyway is Razor Fist, that It's like, I don't like American anime. They just do it wrong. And then some people even get into the bullshit cultural appropriation argument. And it's like, oh, fuck off. What would Japanese animation be without American influence? Nothing. Like the entire cyberpunk vision of anime, like Ghost in the Shell and the billion other animes that are based in a Neo Tokyo futuristic universe, Akira, the beloved oft referenced anime feature film and so forth. It's all just Blade Runner, all of it. And the creators of Ghost in the Shell outright say it. We saw that film and it just totally blew our minds and we wanted to, and that's fine. That's not cultural appropriation. That's influence. That's not a problem. I just when people start talking about like American anime and they're like, I don't like it. It's like, oh, shut up. You sound like a fucking grandpa complaining that I don't like things that are different than things I'm used to.
Depends on the animation. Like I can see where the argument is being made that this animation is abysmal compared to this animation. For instance, a lot of the things on Cartoon Network nowadays making me cringe, making me sad. But back in the olden days, right, when we had Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, when we had Teen Titans, another one. When we had, oh gosh, why am I coming up blank? My Life as a Teenage Robot, that was another one. I'm really throwing back. I'm showing my age. Because I'm super old. Oh, Avatar The Last Airbender. That one's a really good one to throw back to. And it was super mature. Like, as far as animated content goes, that is some top tier content. Like, hot diggity damn. Not a lot has measured up to it.
I agree. Ghost Runner does sound sick. I should create an anime around that.
You should do it.
It's like Blade Runner combined with Ghost Runner. Or yes.
Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are also two very great animated TV shows that do not get the recognition that they deserve and should have ran for a great many more years.
Mm-hmm. They were awesome. Like Batman, Batman the animated series, and then it blends into the Batman Superman adventures, and then Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. All of them are fantastic. Really good.
Ooh, Scooby-Doo is another classic animation that just keeps getting like revamped. Is that the word that I'm looking for? Or restylized every couple of years? And I'm a big fan of all of that. I don't understand why people had such issue with Mr. Incorporated personally, but I still liked it. It made the characters a little bit more dynamic than what I was used to, but that was fine with me. I was ready for that. I was ready to take that on. But all of the Scooby-Doo properties, as they've been put out, have always have a place in my heart, honestly. And that I am including the live-action Scooby-Doo movies as well.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even a pup named Scooby-Doo?
I can't remember which one that was.
There was yet another iteration of Scooby-Doo. There's so fucking many. It's nuts.
I know. A pup named Scooby-Doo. Hang on. All of the ones that I've seen.
It's basically all of them are kids, and Scooby-Doo's a little puppy. And so it's like them running around in the Mystery Machine, but on their bicycles because they're all like 8 or 10 years old or whatever.
Okay, I vaguely remember this, and what I remember of it, I remember it fondly. But I was also a child, and it was on Boomerang.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all of these... I mean, when you're watching the original... Anything 70s and 80s, I love all those animated series. Like, the Marvel ones, I'm a big fan of. The 1981 Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, 1979 Spider-Woman, 1978 Fantastic Four. And those are all before my time, and I have copies of them and love watching them from totally legitimate sources. But nonetheless,
There were the really fun, like the Flintstones, the Jetsons,
No, don't be
Perils of
starting with me on.
Penelope Cruz or whatever.
I may or may not be wearing my Jetsons pajama pants right now.
Oh. And that was even before my time, but I still enjoyed them. I was okay as a kid whose mom didn't let them go outside very often. TV was my babysitter, and it was my entertainment, and it was my first love. My first love. And it actually is the reason that I was so invested in YouTube, because you guys want to know how I got started on YouTube? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now how I got started on YouTube. My very first video, and it does not exist anymore on this platform, but my very first video was a Teen Titans fan fiction video. Yeah.
Really?
It was. Oh, yeah. And the reason why I made one, because I saw a whole bunch of other Teen Titans fan fiction videos, because they canceled Teen Titans also suddenly, and I could not get that OTP, that precious OTP, like I wanted it to have like I wanted it to have happen, because there was no hope. I'm still holding out for season 6, ladies and gentlemen. I still am. There's so many things left unsaid that could totally pick up. Like, there's an audience out there that would jump on the opportunity for a Teen Titans revival. But no, we get Titans instead. Fuck them. Fuck them in the ass. Anyway, so they canceled season 5, and I was obsessed with it at this point. I wanted to see every single episode, even the lost episode, because there is a 14-minute lost episode, by the way, of Teen Titans. If you didn't know that, now you do. Go look for it. And I looked for all of the episodes. And this was back in the day when you could get away with posting pirated stuff on YouTube, and all it had to do was be backwards, and you could just watch full episodes. So that was how I watched my full episodes of Teen Titans when I couldn't get them on TV. And I couldn't rent them off of Netflix, because you could do that too back in the day. You could order DVDs from Netflix and they just send it to your house. But my mom didn't let me do that for whatever reason. So I found myself turning to YouTube, and that was how I started watching YouTube videos. And then when I finished watching all of the Teen Titans episodes, I started watching the fanfiction videos, and I got hooked on those. And then it got to the point where I wanted to make my own fanfiction video, which is super embarrassing to say out loud. But it was a fanfiction video of Robin and Starfire. And it had a plot too, and there were words. And I think I put the song "Alone," sung by what's her face? She did "My Heart Will Go On."
Oh,
what's her name? Come on,
yeah,
Celine Dion.
Yeah, right. That's her name.
Celine Dion's version of "Alone" was like the music underneath. Oh god, it was so cringy, and I can't believe I'm admitting this out loud, and you'll never find it, you'll never see it, but it amassed 1,400 views by the time I had taken it down. And that was my very first YouTube video. It was not on this channel, by the way. It was on a completely different channel. Oh god. So cringe. So cringe.
Yeah, well, just for the record,
yeah,
Firestar is the best Starfire.
You mean the Russian?
What Russian?
Am I remembering something incorrectly? Hang on.
See, there's this Starfire, this like trollop from another galaxy alien inside the DC universe.
Okay, I had to look this up, and she's a Marvel comic book hero, by the way. And the very first thing it says in Wikipedia is not to be confused with Starfire, so fuck you.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Firestar is best Starfire. Is it Firestar is first. She's Angelica Jones, and she's a little high. And she debuted in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And Firestar, who was a little redhead hottie, and not gay Iceman, and Peter Parker all lived together, and that was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And if you ever watch Comic Book Curation, the background that we use is the pad where they hung out in that show. That's why I picked it, because I'm a big fan of that show. And afterwards they just switch around her name. Oh, Starfire, and she's this alien trollop who's all into sex and
I don't agree.
It's fine.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I just don't. Nope.
It's fine. You are supportive of the thoughts and trollops. It's fine.
You can go suck a pee-pee on that. None of your nonsense there, sir. Speaking of my favorite comic book property of all time, I have yet to see season 2 of Titans, and I don't think I ever will, because season 1 depressed me so much. It hurt my soul. It made me sad. Sounds cruel. I didn't know what you're talking about. I cringe. You're cringe. You cringe? Oh, you said sounds cool in a very fun way there, Sunny Biscuit. I was a very obsessed young child.
Conspiracy like, really Illuminati asks, Iceman is gay now? Yeah, for a couple of years now in the comics. They retconned him as not just gay, but very, very gay. Like he can't go a comic without like a single issue without him referencing that he's gay, getting into a fight with his parents because he came out, trying difficulty in dating online. It just and that's because they allowed Cena Grace to write him, who's like, Cena Grace is gay, so it's like, I have to write this character as some kind of, if anyone else other than a gay writer wrote that character like that, people would consider it like a homophobic caricature of gay people.
Oh, well, because she's gay, it's okay, right? Or he's gay, or he, okay. Yeah. It sounded like a woman's name.
Yeah, Cena, fair enough, but no, it's a guy.
Anyway.
And you know this thinking, right? Like typical identitarian thinking. If the character's gay, we have to get a gay writer to write them. If the character's black, we have to get a black writer to write them. But I don't think that only goes in one direction. Somehow it's woke as fuck to get professional racist Ta-Nehisi Coates to write Captain America.
Don't worry about it. You're thinking too much about it, Polly.
I'm not the one that's overthinking this. How about whoever can write whoever, as long as they've got like good, detailed adventure, character developing story arcs. I don't care, man, woman, young, old. I don't give a fuck. The point is like, what are you writing? Not who are you that is doing the writing.
Yeah. You think if I wrote a lesbian character, do you think I'd get as much pushback as a white cis male?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. Yeah, I do. Like only based upon, maybe you wouldn't, but like best guess, yeah, you probably would get some pretty good pushback. I mean, you get, oh, Batwoman, and she's an openly gay character in the comics. That means we're finally going to get some representation, blah, blah, blah. Right? And it's like, we're going to get Ruby Rose to play her, but Ruby Rose is, yes, she's gay or at least bisexual, but they always get her to play the gay character. She's not gay enough for us. Like,
no, what I mean is, if I were to write a book, does that same logic apply to me if I'm writing all of the characters because it's my book? Because people want more representation in their media, but if you can only get it because X person with X minority status is writing that thing, then doesn't that lessen the amount of representation you get?
Well, okay. What, generally speaking, I would agree with you. That makes sense, but you have to put the presupposition in it. Their point is to complain about a given range of subjects. That is the goal, right? And so everything past that becomes a series of talking points. So you're missing that presupposition and jumping right to the talking points and saying, well, I'm adding these characters in. Isn't that representative? Well, it would be, but you remember the presupposition that they're coming off. The goal is to complain about a whole bunch of things in a range of topics, which are LGBT stuff, race stuff, gender stuff, class stuff, Donald Trump, politics generally. You know what I mean? We want to complain about these things. So whatever you do is never enough. Well, of course it's not, because the point is to complain. So no matter what you do, they'll find a problem. You're a
So
straight, white, cis woman. What are you doing? You're silencing gay writers by not allowing them to have a voice by you writing a gay character.
So what I'm hearing is we can only create content about single-celled organisms that have no genders or races. They asexually reproduce.
Here's the logic, right?
Uh-huh.
You, as a straight white cis woman, can only write characters who are straight white cis women from your particular socioeconomic class. Anybody can write you, though, who's not any of those things that I just listed. And even if you do that, they will still find a problem. This is why they have diversity and inclusion readers to read through your work to make sure there's anything, to see if there's anything problematic. That's an actual career.
Fuck that noise.
Sensitivity.
I'll write what I fucking want, bitches. If I wanna write a green lesbian, I will write a green lesbian. You can't.
Are you interested in writing a green lesbian?
I don't know. Because does the rule still apply if you base your entire, like, the universe that your piece of work takes place in, if you base it not in our universe but in a completely fictional one that you made up,
right?
Does the rule still apply?
Oh yeah.
But it's not in our world.
Oh, it's still representation. Everything's happening in a fictional universe, if you know what I mean. Like, even stuff that's based in this world is still fiction. So
I don't like that. Fuck that.
It's like, wait a minute, this is my book and I wanted this character to be X. Doesn't matter.
This displeases the Weebo. And on that note, you've disappointed me for the last time tonight, Polly. Because it's at 2 hours.
Ah.
I know it doesn't feel like it for you.
Well, with good reason.
But I feel it.
Yeah, the number one nowhere's got a good point. Just as a final note there, Weebo. The level of problematic is, remember, the point is to complain about a given series of things. If they don't find it immediately, they will graft it onto things. Alien and Predator about POCs. They are. Oh,
I was not aware of that.
Yes, it's racist as fuck because they're stand-ins for people of color. And prior to that, orcs in the Lords of the Ring universe were stand-ins for people of color.
Oh, I have that article. I have to read it because what's his name? Losair on Twitter. The guy's always hounding Monkey about his beliefs and whatever, who also passively watches and hounds me about my beliefs and whatever. He made that challenge. He's like, there is a whole essay on this and why this is the case, and here you can read it. And I have it printed out. I just haven't read it yet. But I would like to see where the argument comes from and how substantial it is. Because I've heard that Tolkien didn't believe in allegory. Like, he vehemently hated it with a burning passion, which is why he hated C.S. Lewis's work so much. Because it was an allegory for Jesus and the Bible. Yeah. And the story of the redemption arc there for humanity. But I don't know how substantial the argument actually is. If it's just, Sauron is the Dark Lord, therefore it's it's painting all black people as bad, then.
But you raise a good point in terms of like how widespread or substantial or whatever it is. The answer is always like substantial. No, not at all. That the angry 4% of Twitter, as I refer to them. Oh, yeah. Certain people are angry on certain discussion boards right now. If you watch Comic Book Curation, we've talked for the past few weeks about Dungeons and Dragons is going through it right now. A bunch of their character races in that fictional universe setting are seen as being
the dark elves.
Yeah, this is racist, that's racist, etc. We shouldn't even have the term race involved in it. And it's like you guys are grafting stuff that you're seeing is, again, always coming from the stance. We want to argue and complain about things from a certain range of subjects, and we're going to go find it. Whether or not it's there, we'll graft it onto the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the majority of people, no, but it is the angry 4% of Twitter and a pathetically responsive creative group that are behind these things because they're afraid of getting canceled.
On that note, I have 2 things to read from the donations. I have Pingalo the Driving Ape Man, who donated to say, blame Bright for the basis of the orc argument. I actually haven't seen Bright. I've heard that it was very iffy in that respect, but I wouldn't know because I haven't seen it. So I'll take your word for it. And then Lion Patriot donated $5 to the Streamlabs to say, I will pay upwards of $15 to watch the very first Weebo video. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, I just noticed this. Sorry, Six. I just saw that there was a donation put in a little bit ago. I don't know why it didn't come up, but well, okay then. Let's do this. Polly is here after all, so here's a little help to get that potato. And listen here, Jack. If you don't help this awesome otter, you're not really black. Corn Pop was a bad dude, but otters are the best dudes. It's true. It's true. Don't believe the slander that you might hear out there about otters.
Sure.
Maybe them sea otters, I don't know, but river otters, no, they're fine.
Nah. Oh, and then Pingalo the Driving Ape Man said, or donated to say, save yourself and just watch Critical Drinkers video. Can you link me to that at one of my little linky areas somewhere, please? And I appreciate it, because I would like to watch it, if you don't mind. But don't go out of your way if it's inconvenient for you. Just if you mind. Okay, so Polly, thank you so much for joining me this fine evening. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad I decided to click on notifications to see that you were in fact streaming. Apologies for my lateness, but ultimately it's your fault.
Yeah, totally. I'll take the blame. Sure. And then thank you to chat for coming in and keeping me company until you got here, and then for consistently just typing in that live chat all of their conundrums and questions and what have you. We do appreciate that. You guys give me something to kind of talk off of when it is that I'm alone. And then, it's always nice to have conversations in the chat too, just with people, between people and whatnot. Thank you to those who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and who will do so in the future. We do appreciate so much. Thank you to those who donated. You guys are saints. You don't have to, but you do, and we appreciate it. You guys make the money happen. They do, but they also make the show happen. Paul, do you have anything to show before we sign off?
Not particularly, just my channel. By all means, check it out. I think my link is below, isn't it?
It's always below. It's
by
default. Below.
Well, by all means, if you are so inclined, go check out my channel. All sorts of fun stuff happens over there.
Yeet. And also, check out my channel. I have a whole host of videos that you can watch that aren't live streams if you so choose. But if you don't, that's fine too. Some people like me more in a live format than in a non-live format, I guess. I don't know who those people are because they've never said anything to me, but I'm sure they're out there somewhere. On that note, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same faces, same otter. Toodaloo.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.